Hi, my name is Toby Pierce, and I'd like to share a devotional thought with you today. In Matthew 21, it begins with what's been called Jesus' triumphal entry into Jerusalem. It actually starts with Jesus predicting what's going to happen when he sends some disciples to go and get a donkey and her foal, the foal of the donkey, that Jesus is going to ride into Jerusalem. And then that all fulfills some Old Testament prophecy as well. Jesus rides the foal into Jerusalem, and people are taking off their cloaks and putting them in front of, spreading them in front, and other people are cutting off branches and putting those on the road, and they're shouting, "Hosanna to the Son of David! Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord! Hosanna in the highest!" Well, Jesus gets to the temple and he drives out all the money changers, those who bought and sold in the temple. He overturns the tables of the money changers and rids the temple of all these bad things. And then he goes out and he spends the night in Bethany. The next day, he comes back to Jerusalem to the temple. And that's where I want to start, is in Matthew 21, beginning in verse 23. And when he entered the temple, the chief priests and the elders of the people came up to him as he was teaching and said, "By what authority are you doing these things? And who gave you this authority?" Jesus answered them, "I will also ask you one question. And if you tell me the answer, then I also will tell you by what authority I do these things. The baptism of John, from where did it come? From heaven or from man?" And they discussed it among themselves, saying, "If we say from heaven, he will say to us, then why did you not believe him? But if we say from men, we are afraid of the crowd, for they all hold that John was a prophet." So they answered Jesus, "We do not know." And he said to them, "Neither will I tell you by what authority I do these things." Then he tells them this parable. And this is what I want you to think about. Jesus says, "What do you think? A man had two sons. And he went to the first and said, 'Son, go to work in the vineyard today.' And he answered, 'I will not.' But afterward, he changed his mind and went. And he went to the other son and said the same. And he answered, 'I go, sir.' But he did not go. Which of the two did the will of his father?" And they said, "The first." Jesus said to them, "Truly I say to you, the tax collectors and the prostitutes go in to the kingdom of God before you. For John came to you in the way of righteousness, and you did not believe him. But the tax collectors and prostitutes believed him. And even when you saw it, you did not afterwards change your minds and believe him." Well, in the context, Jesus is telling this parable to the religious leaders at the time, because even though they were seen as the people as righteous and as doing the right things, they weren't righteous and they weren't doing the right things. And even after they learned what was right, they still didn't do what was right. But secondly, this parable, this account was written down not just for us to rejoice that Jesus put these leaders in their place, but it's written down for our benefit as well. He wants us to learn from it. Which of the two sons did the will of his father? The one who, even though at first he said no, that he would not, he eventually did. Well, recently our minister Logan preached a lesson on the Apostle Peter and the things that Peter did and how relatable Peter is to us and the way that we think and feel and do things. It was a great lesson, and I'm so grateful to have Logan and Lacey here with us at Northeast. After Logan's lesson, I just kept thinking about Peter And I thought about this parable. How often did Peter say no at first and then go ahead and do the thing that Jesus wanted? He would show some resistance, but then he would go ahead and show his faith by doing in faith the things that Jesus had asked. At Luke 5 and verse 5, and Simon answered, Master, we toiled all night and took nothing, but at your word I will let down the nets. John 13 and verse 8, Peter said to him, you shall never wash my feet. And after Jesus explains, Simon Peter said to him, Lord, not my feet only, but also my hands and my head. And in Acts 10, the Lord shows Peter a vision of unclean animals and tells him to eat them. In Acts 10 and verse 14, but Peter said, by no means, Lord, for I have never eaten anything that is common or unclean. And the voice came to him again a second time, what God has made clean, do not call common. And Peter realizes that this was the Lord telling him that the Lord wants both Jews and Gentiles in his church. Well, what's the point of all of this for us? Well, the point is that maybe we've given ourselves to the Lord, but there are certain things that we're going to say no to. I'll do these things, Lord, but I'm not ready to give up these other things in my life that really are becoming between me and you. Well, maybe it's time to take a second look at our lives and the things that maybe we're holding back. Instead of thinking, that's just how I am, let's think, yeah, that's how I am. But with Jesus' help, I can do better. I'm ready to be what Jesus wants me to be. Well, think on these things and have a blessed day.
If you would like more information, or if you'd like to participate in our Bible studies and worship services, we would love to have you come join us at the Northeast Church of Christ in Albuquerque, New Mexico.